Next, we have yet another very special launch, the Market Watch, carried out by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. As the national body of marketing, SLIM, with a view of making the country and marketers thereby future-ready, wishes to disseminate the research papers and insight reports on a regular basis to share the actionable insights with the marketing fraternity that will help in their planning and execution process. SLIM Market Watch is the quarterly insight report published by SLIM Research Bureau to share the actionable insights with the marketing fraternity that will help in their planning and execution. And the Research Bureau is proud to bring to you our first Market Watch report in collaboration with SparkWin Research. And the research is available for download. Where else? It's on www.srb.lk. And we have got the two presenters joining with us to talk about the first ever report that is on food choices in a post-COVID world. We have the Assistant Secretary of the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. She comes with over 13 years of market research experience across industries from FMCG, telecom, finance to education, Ms. Sathika Wickramasinghe. And she'll be joined by the Managing Director of SparkWin Research, which specializes in providing the data-centric solutions for businesses. He's also a market and social research specialist with experience spanning over 11 years. Mr. Sudhaharan Perampalam. Over to you, Sathika and Sudhaharan.
Thank you for the invitation and wonderful event of launching Market Watch with the intention of making data and evidence-based decision available for the marketing fraternity in Sri Lanka. So there is a question of why we choose the food choices in the post-pandemic world and what is the relevance of this topic as of now. So the pandemic has created a lot of disruptions with every sectors, like from education to telecommunication to data to everything. There is a disruption, but there is disruption in the food as well. So there is a huge impact created with the food choices that we have. So in terms of the disruption, like we have now thinking about what is on our plate, like how it's transforming to our plate from the farm. So whether do we have quality food, whether our food coming in a hygienic condition, and do we have nutritious food? So the consumers have a lot of choices, and these choices and this concern have become more relevant in the pandemic situation because people are staying at home and there are disruption in terms of work and like work-life balance. So they have more time in terms of preparing food and everything. So they have become more conscious and informed than before, than the normal time. So information needs at this time is high, where the consumers are also searching for a lot of information to make rational decision. So therefore we thought like food is an important element that we face everyday life. So last year, and when it comes to food security, it is more concerned about the hygiene food and quality food. Other than that, like how companies and brands are addressing the emerging requirement of nutritional food. So that is our concern in bringing this report. So therefore, to address the needs of the evolving consumer, more than the pandemic time, more than before the pandemic time, now the consumers are evolved and they are more conscious. So in order to address this evolving need, we thought this report would be ideal at this time, because brand also needs to reshape their agenda to address the needs of evolving consumers. So these evolving and conscious consumers are going to direct what they look for in the next 5-10 years. So the brands who shape their agenda in order to address these needs of consumers and their requirement will win in the next 10 years time. So that's why how this research become important, and at this juncture where the information need is much higher for brands as well as consumer about the nutritious food. So to address the methodology that we have adapted to do this study, like we have conducted 200 like telephonic interviews with customers in Western Province who belongs to SEC A, B, and C, like who SEC in the sense the socio-economic class who are slightly higher in the class SEC A's and B's, A, B, and C. So this is the target group of consumers. So ideally from this research we want to draw few meaningful thematic ideas that can shape the future of future need for nutritional food. Satika will take you through the key findings of this research. Thanks.
Thank you, Haran. So as Haran said, we were looking at the data that we collected to figure out what are some of the emerging themes, what was coming out, what were consumers talking about in terms of nutrition and health and well-being. When we were looking at this information, we came up with 4 main themes. We named them renewed concerns, I have no clue, back to basics, and all about value. We'll go into each of these briefly to understand what is it that consumers were thinking of when they said these things to us, and what is the impact that these will have on our brands. First up is renewed concerns. Going into the pandemic itself, consumers were already concerned about food safety, quality, and well-being. You might remember we even had concerns about the quality of basic things like even coconut oil. So all of these were playing in consumers' minds when they entered into the pandemic era itself. But once they entered into this pandemic era, these concerns were further heightened. Immunity, health, safety, well-being, all of these became very important in consumers' minds. So this is where this renewed concerns comes in. So for 41% of consumers, the importance placed on nutrition increased over the last year. This is of course no surprise. As I said, immunity was a big concern for consumers, and they were looking for all sorts of remedies to make sure that their immunity was improved. You might remember people were lining up outside of Ayurvedic shops, for example, to buy Perum Kayam and things like that. 32% of consumers were dissatisfied with their ability to meet their nutrition requirements last year as well. People had more time to think about nutrition and the importance of nutrition during this time. However, because of financial insecurities, job insecurities, and so on, affordability became a concern for most people. Even for those people where affordability was not a concern, accessibility became an issue. People were confined to their households. They had to rely on deliveries. What came into their lane was what they could buy, or what the supermarkets had in stock was what they could buy. So accessibility also became an issue, and therefore 32% weren't really happy with how they were able to meet their nutritional requirements. And most consumers, even those who were able to meet their nutrition requirements, were unaware or lacked trust in the information sources available to them on quality of nutrition. So people told us, all these brands, they have these certifications, these logos, these quality standards. I don't really know what these things mean. I don't know what it does. I don't know who I should reach out to in order to get more information. So this was a big need for consumers as well. This presents an opportunity for marketers. It's an opportunity for nourishing and authentic brand stories. Consumers aren't looking for frivolous health and wellness stories. What they want is authenticity. Real stories of real people and brands working hard towards making sure that consumers are getting the best food, the most nutritious food, and the highest quality of food. And this obviously has a payoff, because 38% of consumers said they would be willing to pay something more if the nutrition content and the quality was assured for them. Next up is I have no clue. So clearly consumers were well aware of the importance of nutrition. This mentioned to us multiple amounts of times and in multiple manners how nutrition was really important to them. But a surprising number of people weren't sure how to meet those nutritional needs. We had 80% of consumers who said, yes, nutrition is an important aspect that I must consider when I prepare my meals daily. 75% of consumers said, in order to make a meal nutritious, I should have some green leaves, vegetables, fruit, dairy, meat, fish, eggs, these types of things must be there in my meal if it is to be considered nutritious. However, just 63% of consumers, 63% of consumers said, while I know that these aspects must be there in my meal, I don't know how these translate to nutrition. Am I losing the nutritional value in my preparation? What do these nutrients do when they enter into my body? I really don't know. 50% of consumers said preparing a nutritious meal is a time-consuming activity and time I do not have. And just 30% of consumers said that a nutritious meal could be tasty as well. So consumers want nutrition, but they also want this to be delivered conveniently and while preserving the taste. So if you are able to give the consumers a product that gives them their nutritional requirements while being convenient to prepare and being tasteful, then you have a winner. Next up was back to basics. This was a period where lots of consumers were looking inwards. Consumers found that they were unable to rely on others for their nutritional requirements. They were homebound, they had to rely on themselves to figure out how they were going to meet a lot of their requirements. And a constant reminder of the importance of wellness, the importance of health, the importance of well-being came to them in the form of news items, news alerts, talk about the pandemic. So this resulted in consumers taking matters into their own hands and trying to figure out how can I meet my family's or my nutritional requirements on my own. This created a home gardening phase. You might remember there were lots of posts and hashtags that were created during this time. 1 in 3 consumers started home gardening. They had more time in their hands. It was free once they cultivated it. It was organic more or less, no pesticides, no chemicals used. In addition to that, consumers also said this was a very stressful period for a lot of people, lots of financial insecurities that they were facing, kids at home, lots of issues people were having, and this was actually a way of relieving that stress. So that also played a part. Consumers also turned to the no frills and fancies local suppliers. Price was a key differentiator here. Lots of local suppliers were cheaper, they felt. They trusted these suppliers. They felt they might have been fresher, they might be better. And the third one was actually that they felt that by buying from the shop next door, by buying a local product, I'm helping someone I know. I'm helping a small businessman, I'm helping a small family, and that made them feel good about the decision that they were making. 90% preferring local product sourcing to mitigate supply chain and exchange rate issues. So the people said, if all of these were available locally, products would have been available continuously without any out-of-stocking issues. Our exchange rate issues would not have been there had a local supply been established. 80% of consumers also mentioned that local brands communicated consistently to them about quality. Of course, there were lots of non-local players also who made this list, but they were more local. They had that local flavor there as well. At some point, the old normal is going to return. We are talking about this new normal all the time. At some point, it's going to go away and the old normal is going to come back. And we shouldn't be under the illusion that 1 in 3 consumers will continue their home gardening. That is not going to happen. They're going to get back into their previous lifestyle. However, consumers still want the best of both worlds. So there were some things that they liked about the life during the pandemic, the fact that they were able to experience together as a family, they got to, do their home gardening and things like that. So if you can bring to them that homegrown feel, that family bond enhancing experience, then that's something that consumers will feel endeared towards. Of course, we cannot talk about the pandemic without talking about value. Lots of consumers faced financial insecurities and income insecurities. Therefore, they were forced to re-evaluate their food choices based on affordability. Even when it came to nutrition, this was the case. 59% of consumers told us that they saw a dip in their incomes. Their income sources depleted. 76% of consumers told us that their expenses increased. Kids were at home, they were having online lessons, I need a smartphone, I have to pay an extra telephone bill, I have to pay for Wi-Fi now. Food prices have increased, there's an impact of inflation, so my expenses have gone up. 73% of consumers said, I now have no savings. My savings were depleted, I have not been able to make any additional savings during this time. 78% of consumers said, I had some difficulty in accessing nutrition. One or other factors prevented me from accessing the nutrition that I wanted. And 53% of consumers said, I was unable to access nutrition purely because I was not able to afford it. And when we spoke to them about what are some of the categories of food that they were unable to access, of course you had the pricier things that came up, things like broccoli and cheese were also some among the list of things that they were unable to afford. But you also had the basics. You had things like rice and pulses and dairy that made this list. So people were finding it difficult even to afford some of these things. The solution isn't as simple as introducing a sachet. Of course, sachets will broaden the spectrum of affordability and accessibility, but consumers aren't only looking for price here, they're also looking for that price and nutrition equation. So how are companies and brands gearing towards meeting? That is the question. In conclusion, consumers, when it comes to brands, they want brands to show their authenticity. They want brands to come back and tell them that they are truly trying and ensuring that consumers' nutrition needs and food safety quality needs are being met, and give consumers a sense of control back. And in terms of policy, we saw that consumers weren't really aware of how to meet their nutritional needs, about what standards mean, so they weren't really aware of these. So while policies should enable broadening of accessibility to nutrition, but also it needs to broaden their knowledge levels, give consumers the power to access that information and understand and find out more about what they're putting into their bodies. So this actually brings us to the end of the report. You can, as Dushan mentioned previously, download this from our site. It will have much more detail than what I have taken you through, and I really hope that you found this interesting and you found some insights as you were going through. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sathika and Haran. And of course, as they clearly mentioned, you can download the report of this particular subject of the Slim Market Watch, that is on food choices in a post-COVID world, from the website www.srb.lk. I have a couple of questions to ask about the research. We talk about the nutrition, we talk about the value, but today the prices have simply skyrocketed. How can people get a nutritious meal, say for an example, an organic one, wasabi sanati one, spending such a huge amount? What is your take on that? What was the response?
Definitely, Dushan. So as we saw during the research, people had difficulty even accessing basic nutrition, right? People said it was difficult for them to afford dairy, to afford pulses, to afford even rice. Right? So that was difficult to them. But this in turn presents an opportunity to the manufacturing fraternity. People want nutrition. 38% of people are saying, if you assure me the quality of nutrition, I'm still willing to even pay some more for it, right? So it's an opportunity to make sure that nutritious food is accessible and also affordable. So you need to be able to match that equation where it's not so pricey that it deters consumers from trying it, but that it's beneficial to you as well, so that you will actually at least be in the industry. That's also obviously a requirement. So it's an opportunity for the industry to step in and meet the needs of the consumers at this point.
The sample was taken only from the Western province, was it?
Yeah, it is from the Western province.
Why was it?
We felt like Western province account for about 28% of the population, and when it comes to nutritional food, the exposure of the people and the amount in terms of consumption, Western province is much higher, having much higher exposure than the other provinces. And the thematic area that we focus on nutrition, we felt like we should go for slightly affluent and consumers who have the exposure to the nutritional food, and we need to find out the deep insights among their deep insights about their behavior. That's why we focus more on the Western province and more affluent consumers.
How was the brand association? Now, were they really? Did they really care about the brand identity, or like the ethnicity of the brand, or whether they went ahead with more on the local side or the foreign side?
So consumers, they had their brand preferences, obviously. Different people have different preferences
Is
when
it the
it comes
promise
to...
of the brand?
It is the promise of the brand, and it is also, people said, right, I want to know what I'm putting into my body. Who is assuring me of the quality? Who is assuring me of the nutrition? That's the person that I want to purchase. And obviously, it has to be available. Availability and affordability both need to be in place. But in this instance, there was a slight preference towards local players because there was a perception that these might be fresher, these might be, since they're locally sourced, they might be newer, and that perception was there. But it's not to say that the imported brands or the multinationals do not stand a chance. As long as those aspects that the consumers are looking for are assured, then consumers will love the brand.
Thank you very much, Satika and Haran, for your valuable insights and your initiatives, and especially presenting this report, The Food Choices in a Post-COVID World. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.